Welcome to Discover Indie Film. I'm Jeff Howard, and I've got Eddie Alfano with me in person at the dining room table. Hey, Eddie.
How's it going?
It's going good. Good to see you.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, so I met Eddie at Film Invasion Los Angeles in 2025, just a couple months ago in June, because your film Mondays at the Office was an official selection and took home the Filmmakers Award for Outstanding Short Film Comedy. And I don't know if you know the difference between our awards?
Yes, but I don't remember it right now, but I remember seeing like the breakdown on the website.
Yeah, well, Filmmakers Award means that a jury of your peers, alumni who've been at the festival before, they choose those awards. Okay. So even though a lot of people are like, give more value to the grand jury awards, I'm like, that's the selection committee. Like, that's a bunch of like old out of touch motherfuckers who you are allowed to curse on this, but those are a bunch of old farts who like, aren't active filmmakers, whereas the Filmmakers Awards, that's from your peers. So the fact that your peers chose you as the best comedy, I think is pretty cool.
I'll take it.
Take it. And I assume, are you still? Is it available online yet, or not quite?
No, we have the Burbank Film Festival in the end of September, and then we're just waiting to hear back from a festival in New York that I think the decision date is any day now. And then, so if we don't get into that one, then after Burbank, we'll have it online.
They have it online.
Yeah.
When it's online, feel free to fire off an email, and we'll put it in the show notes so that people can check it out, because I highly recommend it. Seriously good film. Amusingly, I don't know why I'm hitting you with this so early, but I mean it's got a lot more depth than the average comedy. Like I know the word dramedy kind of got beaten to death in the 80s, but I mean it's funny, but there's a lot of depth to it, and there's a lot of human emotion in there. So I don't know if you ever like debate it in your head.
No. I mean, it's what I go for. It's what I aim for. Like, I think, not all the time, but I love dramedies, right? Like, dramedy is it's kind of my favorite genre to see. And for whatever reason, it tends to be what I write. And not that there's anything wrong with straight comedy, but I just always gravitate towards having some sort of a, emotional aspect to it, and I think too it's like I don't want to make a straight drama, because I know straight dramas, particularly in short films, can be difficult to pull off when you don't have a lot of time for backstory. So I think with shorts, it's a good place to be. Like, I like to sneak a drama into the comedy format.
Yeah, but also you've got a good sense of humor, because I'm about to debate you about the drama being harder, because comedy, trust me, as someone who watches like 700 short films per festival, or not 700 shorts, but like a lot of comedy falls flat. Like comedy, you can't, like if you're making a drama, like you can miss a couple beats and it's okay.
Right.
But comedy, you're flat on your face early.
Yeah. I think what I'm saying is just structurally, you can get away with like a sketch, where it's like it's easy to just have the beginning, middle, and end is based off of the comedic side of it, whereas like to pull off drama in 10 or 15 minutes where you don't really have time to, it's so hard without like bad exposition to get out the relationships and to get out why we ought to care,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because if you don't care about people.
Yeah. So like a lot of dramatic movies work because, the way the acts are drawn out, you get vested in it. Where in a short drama, it's like good luck getting, you got 2 minutes to establish the relationships between people, and it's really hard.
It is. Well, also, I should mention, you already mentioned writing, but I should mention that Mondays at the Office, you wrote it, you produced it with two other people, including your director, and you were, of course, the lead actor. So I figured I should mention all the hats you wore.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you had more hats on than that.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm an actor, right? Like, I'm an actor first. That's my first love, and it's what I do for a living, right? And then writing kind of wasn't on the docket, and then like a lot of actors, you realize that if all you're doing is acting, you're kind of missing out on a lot. And then I started writing, and it became this whole other thing I'm passionate about. I have a much different relationship with it than acting, but I do like it. And then producing, I hate, but I have to do, because if I don't, no one, it won't get made. And then directing, I don't do. I have no skill for it. I have no desire to do it. And so then I always outsource my directing to, I have very talented friends who direct, so I involve them, and Marco Ragazzino being one that I've collaborated with probably 10 times now on various things. And we see things the same way. So it's always a good fit when the two of us are together. Very
cool. Well, so you say you're primarily an actor. So, and you're, I don't even know if it's before we started recording or not, but I know you're from New York. So when did you get the acting bug? That was what happened first for you?
Yeah. And that came very late in life. I didn't do any of it growing up. I played sports, right? And when I was growing up and where I grew up, it was you either played sports or you did arts, right? It was very little people doing both. And I came from a family that my dad played sports. There was no art. Nobody was involved in music. There was none of that. And it never crossed my mind, And then college, I was an accounting major and played football, and then blah blah blah. And then that didn't work out. I was miserable in the business world, and then moved to Los Angeles, and then stumbled into acting, kind of on a not on a whim, because I was around a lot of people that were doing it. So I was like, let me try this, and then took an acting class and instantly fell in love with it.
So what was the inspiration to move to LA? Since forgive me for my shock, but I'm talking to somebody who moved to LA not for acting at first. Yeah. That's amazing.
I had visited LA the summer after I graduated college, and I loved it. And then I went back to New York, started my career as an accountant. That lasted 9 months. And then I was I thought I was taking a sabbatical. I was let me just go out to LA for 6 months to get whatever I got to get out of my system, and then I'll go back to New York. And that was 25 years ago. Yeah.
Very cool. So really the beauty and the LA-ness got you.
Yeah, exactly. I think the weather and I was, at the time, I was really into the working out and the fitness world. That was what I thought I was going to get what I was missing from sports not being there. So I got really into the fitness world. And so I moved to Venice and worked at Gold's Gym Venice, and was doing fitness modeling, and there wasn't really much of a future in that, but I was just wanted to be around that when I moved to LA. So if there was something that brought me to LA, it was that. And then, after it was a while before acting was even, on my radar.
Yeah, but I bet you knew other trainers who were actors.
So many people.
I know many actors who instead of bartending, they'll do personal training because most actors are in fantastic shape.
The Gold's Gym Venice crowd was filled with famous actors and up and coming actors, wannabe actors, all of that. So that was how I was going on my first auditions, was for Nike commercials where they needed meatheads. And they would literally call Gold's Gym or put a posting up on the bulletin board. And then I started going to auditions, not knowing what the hell I was doing, not having any, real sense of the craft, any of that. I'm embarrassed when I think back to what I
But it's how you got into it. It's your version of high school plays, right?
You just give it a try. It was
just giving it a try.
Yeah. And the real version of that was then I enrolled in a class at Santa Monica College, and then I actually got to perform what would be what other people were doing in grade school. I was doing as a 26-year-old freshman at Santa Monica College.
Yeah, and yet you got your degree. I think all that stuff pays off long term, right?
Yeah. I don't know, pays off. I wouldn't trade my college.
It enhanced.
It enhanced me as a human, 100%. Yeah. I wouldn't trade my college experience for anything. Do I use any of that in my life? No, absolutely not.
Except maybe when you have to wear that producer hat and you're crunching numbers.
No, I'm certainly, I definitely, and a lot of actors tend to be scatterbrained and very ethereal, and I'm more of an analytical person, so I do think that helps me a lot. And it certainly helps with writing, where, and not to say that my accounting classes helped that, but I think I'm that way, and that's why I gravitated toward accounting in the first place,
But so you went on a couple commercial kind of things when they were looking for people who Gold's Gym types.
Yeah.
And then you decided you did want to give it a try and did Santa Monica College.
Yeah.
And was it instant? You fell in love?
Yeah. It was literally the first scene I ever did. It gave me that same feeling that I got from playing sports. And I was in this really dark period in my life of just depressed and what's the meaning of life? Not, the business world let me down, and I could take find no value in any of the things I was doing. And acting, it was there was an importance to it. It just the same way that getting ready for football games, I didn't have to think about it. It was we've got to get ready, right? And that's how I kind of felt performing. Was
I mean, I know it's a little bit of a stretch, but I often talk to people, and there is a big connection between team sports and acting and performance, because you are part of a team, and you I always miss team sports, actually, in a way.
Yeah.
And this even extends to a lot of ballet dancers end up acting for the same thing, because you're part of a troupe.
Yeah.
And it really, I think team sports are good training for acting, in that you respect the coach who's director, this person, right?
For sure.
You understand how there's, right? You played football, which is the ultimate division of labor sport. I guess baseball too, but you understand you can't play every position. You need everyone doing what they can at every position. And that's really one play and you realize, oh man, this is a team.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, it's performance, right? It's ultimately performance. And I think just for me to find meaning in anything I do, those are the things that have worked for me, right? Every other job I've had, I've been horrible at, and just kind of spaced out. And then acting was the one. It's very easy for me to commit to it,
Right. It just spoke to you.
Yeah.
And the personal training didn't.
No, personal training's fine. I just, in small doses, I didn't, it wasn't something I wanted to wake up and do every day.
Yeah. All right. So what came next? Did you start while going to Santa Monica?
Yeah,
because you were older.
I was I gotta get caught up, and I remember, and then I told my parents, because I had been on this sabbatical for 2 years at that point. My mom was like, when are you coming home? What are you doing? And then I'm I'm going to be an actor. And it was oh, Jesus, now he's going to be an actor. And I gave myself a 5-year game plan. And it wasn't, oh, if I don't get this by then, I'm quitting. It was just 5 years to see progress, and step one of that was to just get good as an actor and take as many classes as I could. And then quickly from Santa Monica College, I met my would-be mentor after that from a fellow student was I'm taking this class in Hollywood with this guy named Peter Haskell. You gotta come over there and see, he's doing the real stuff, and Santa Monica College was great, but it's at some point it's not what people are doing on film. It's a different type of thing. And so I was very lucky to have met this Peter Haskell, who was a super successful working actor from the 60s through the 90s. And he took a small group of us. We were part of a theater company called Theater East that doesn't exist anymore. It was the longest running theater company still running at the time when I joined there. And that's where I became an actor. That's where I learned how to act, doing scene work under Peter's guidance. And really just it took that initial rush of excitement and really turned it into an obsession of wanting to do this, at the highest level. And then while that's going on, got an agent for print work and then commercials and then small TV parts. And I started to I booked my first co-star on a TV show a few years into that. And then when that 5-year mark came up, I actually booked my first meaningful role in a real film. And that to me was success. I was like, I did it, I had this 5-year plan. I didn't define it, but at that point I was like, that's it. You hit the mark, and that just gave me enough courage to keep going with it,
Oh, for sure. And to your credit, I just want to note that in this story of yours, your work ethic comes through right away. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people might have started auditioning like crazy, and you focused on craft and you focused on I think a work ethic really came through there.
Yeah. I think I always gravitated towards
because you said you wanted to get good.
Yeah.
You didn't say I wanted to get famous.
No, yeah.
You said I want to be a good actor.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm, that whole, you got to have some steak with all that sizzle. For whatever reason, I gravitate towards the steak and no sizzle, right? And my wife always gets on me because she's like, you need both. You need to do the marketing, you need to do the selling of yourself sort of stuff. Left to I don't care about that, right? I really am obsessed with just I always feel like if you build it, it will come, right? And that's not the case though. You do need a lot of that sizzle, and you need agents, and you need to bug casting directors, and you need that. You absolutely, that stuff works, but if you're only doing that, you got nothing. But you really got to focus on the thing,
You really do. I remember those people who were all sizzle.
Yeah.
and they would work a room, and you'd say to yourself, wow, that person's going somewhere. And then you'd see them act, and it was like watching,
oof.
It's like watching an 8-year-old wing it. Wow, you can't judge the book by its cover.
And I don't like this, it's easy for me to focus on the craft because I like that, that's the thing I'm drawn to, and to some degree to a fault, because there's times where it's you're doing all this great scene work in a black box theater that nobody's seeing. You better get some sizzle on that and start to put it out to the world, it's a career is built on both.
All right, so 5 years to get that movie, and then and you were about to tell me something about the movie, I think.
Well, no. So then the movie, and the movie was this Brian Austin Green led, straight to DVD film. But for me, it was a huge deal, right? And then we wrap, and then probably 2 months later, the writer's strike of 2007 happens. So, I was declaring myself a working actor, and it was for 2 months I was a working actor, and then the writer's strike came. But with that, one of my friends is this guy, Michael Hitchcock, who is a well-known actor and also a writer. And because of the writer's strike, he was writing on a show that was now off. And he had always told me that I should be writing about what Mondays at the Office is about, which I was working as a male exotic dancer. That became my pay the bills job. And I met Mike on a show where I got hired as the character was a male exotic dancer. And then I told him I actually do this. He was fascinated. And so anyway, during the writer's strike, we wrote the feature film version. We co-wrote of Mondays at the Office. It was called Romeo Fumbles. And so, now in hindsight, I can see how the thing, everything lined up where, it sucked that the writer's strike was happening. My acting career was non-existent. But I co-wrote that and then another feature film with Mike during that period. And, we were pitching that film pre-Magic Mike. And it got a lot of good meetings, but nobody wanted to bite on it. And then, we saw in the trades that Channing Tatum is about to do a film with Steven Soderbergh about his stripping stories, and that put the kibosh to it. And that was like 2009 that we did that. And, fast forward to now, and it was like, it always bugged me that I never got to make a film about my stories, from that world. And then that's kind of, I finally realized, I could make a short film and I could play the boss now instead of the young stripper. And that like, that eventually is how, this short came about. But, at the time it was just a lot of depression of not getting either of those features made.
Sure. Well, but let me ask. So when you and Mike sat down and wrote that first script, did you take to writing?
Yes.
Was there a love for writing right away, just like acting?
It's crazy because I think back to it now, like I hadn't written a short at that. Like my entry to writing was features, right? But what Mike gave me a couple of books. He gave me like the Robert McKee and Save the Cat. He's like, you have to read these books or I won't write with you, because he's like a stickler on structure. And it was like, and I read them. And, I think because I had read a lot of scripts at that point as an actor, I wasn't completely lost as to what writing was about. And we met for, before writing anything, we kind of structured the story. And then, but it was my job to write the first draft. He was like, you have to write the first draft and then I'll come on and then we'll go back and forth. And, and I wrote that first draft and, I don't know if any of it remains in the script we wrote, but it was at least something to work off of. And I learned how to write in the process of writing with Mike's a brilliant writer and, he essentially became my writing mentor, and I learned all about writing just doing it with him. And then it was after those didn't get made that then I was like, again, it's like, well, now what, right? And then the now what was, well, I can write stuff that I can. The next thing I write, I'm going to have to be able to make myself because I'm not going through that again. And then that was when I made my first short film, Cops and Robbers, around 2014. And then, And
you weren't, I'm just curious. I just have to ask. It's a leading question. Because there was like, Ed Burns and Kevin Smith and guys like that. Like had got like, there was no temptation to write like the super cheap feature.
So, it's interesting because the scripts that me and Mike wrote, you couldn't really do either of them, especially at that time. At that time, there wasn't there was because Ed Burns had done it, right? But like I was tied into Mike as a
No, but your stories were more ambitious. Those guys wrote like people in rooms talking.
Like that. It would have. There was a minimum amount of money that would have meant we had to get money from someone else.
But you needed, based on what you told me, you needed locations.
You
needed
exactly.
Cast, you needed music.
It would have been a type of. Now, I think if I was that person in this environment, I probably would be trying to make the stripper one for $150,000, right? To steal from Sean Baker, right? Like Bottle Rocket is a film that I'm like, that inspires me. Like is it Bottle? No, not Red Rocket.
Yeah,
Bottle Rocket's
was,
another.
Wes
that's
Anderson.
The older one, right?
Yeah.
But Red Rocket is the Sean Baker one that he shot I think during COVID. And that thing, you're like, God, that's something I feel like I could accomplish, but again, that's $1 million, right? Like it's not 100,000.
It's always funny when indie
is
exactly, 7 figures, and I'm like, what indie film?
But it's in the ball. You could do a even cheaper version of Red Rocket, that I'm like, oh, that. So anyway, at that time, no, I couldn't. And I just like, I think it's like maybe a downside to. I think practical and small. I don't think big, right? And I
think achievable.
I think achievable, yeah. And maybe that limits me, but I think I did it the right way. Where it was like my first short film I made for $432 was the budget. Played at numerous festivals and it still lives online and people will randomly watch it. And I'm so proud of that thing. And that was Marco Ragazzino directed it. And, and I had great actors in it. I mean, the cast in that short, it's like so many people have gone on. I mean, Tim Bagley, who, Tim Bagley's like in everything now. And we're friends and I got him to do it. Adam Rose is in it, who's like a huge TikTok star now, randomly. But yeah, it was just like, and that got me going with like being a creator, because it was like, oh, now I can make things and get instant gratification from, I don't have to spend a year writing a film and then people tell me they don't want to make it. It's like I can do it and I can be sitting in a theater and having an audience respond to it.
Yeah, and when you said you sat down and wrote a short.
Yeah.
Had you been exposed to shorts yet? Like when did you first discover like the short film thing?
Yeah.
Because I know we weren't recording when we were talking about that, but like we talked about how like we have had that conversation about how a lot of people don't even realize about the whole short scene.
Yeah, I mean, I had acted in a bunch of people's shorts at that point, right? And so...
And you're like, I can do better than these people.
Yeah, well,
no offense.
That's a really good question because I don't remember that question coming up, right? So I think what it was just like because I had auditioned for hundreds of them, right? I was always at USC and UCLA and then, just random people making shorts and for every 100 audition, I would do 5 of them, and so I got a lot of exposure to the genre and then, the ideas, I was having ideas and then they lent themselves to short format, and that's also too like why I didn't make a feature. It's because the 2 ideas I had for features, I wrote as features, and I can't make them on my own dime. And then the other ideas I've had, and maybe I'm being lazy, but the other ideas I've had have been, this is a 10-minute short, and people are like, because I've had that question asked to me after, like, so is this part of like a feature, like with all my shorts? And I'm like, no, this is it. this is the story I wanted to tell. I'd almost want to tell it, if I'm going to write a feature or make a feature, it's going to be some other story that comes to me and I'm like, that's a feature, like that. I'm not going to try to stretch one of my shorts into a feature.
No.
Yeah.
No. And so it was a good experience, that first short.
It was amazing. Yeah. That like one of and it play, it's near and dear to my heart because it played at a festival on Long Island, the Stony Brook Film Festival, where I grew up. And I didn't know like what that festival was like. I just saw it on the lists and I was like, oh, it's close to my hometown. And it turned out to be much bigger than I thought. And my parents got to see me, I think, for the first time as the way I see myself. They were seeing me in these dumb little parts on CSI New York and all these, procedurals where you're freeze police and, all that nonsense that you do as an actor. And then this, not only did they get to see me in an acting role they hadn't, but they got to see me as a person that people wanted to ask questions,
Yeah.
And my parents are gone now. And then I ended up having like more shorts play there. And then a feature that I acted in played at that festival. And it was like, you want your parents to be proud of what you're doing, especially when they help pay for your college and you did nothing with that, right? There's guilt and there's all that where I wanted them to know, like, no, I'm doing the right path in life. And I think that those moments with those shorts, it's the best. It's the best I had, right? They're gone now, but
But it's a blessing.
It's 100%.
It's such a blessing that you got that experience.
Yeah, they got to see me in a different light than they would have if all they were doing was watching me when I was on TV.
Yeah, and that festival experience is so much, right? Like you can, you could drag them in, 2 hours from home for a festival. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know what? Yeah.
No, that's why like I love festivals because it's like it's the and I'll give you a shout out, but it's a place, not always, but like with your festival, it's a place where you get respect as an artist, and you feel, I hate saying feel seen, but you feel like you're being looked at the way you want to be looked at, right? Which is someone who has something to say and something to put out there for audiences to enjoy and appreciate. And as an actor, I don't always get that feeling, right? You're cast where you're cast, and it's like, well, they're the ones that cast me and they're paying me and that's why I did it, but it's not how I want to express myself per se.
For sure.
Yeah.
And obviously your parents got to see you in something you wrote.
Yeah. Which was a big deal.
Because that had to mean a lot to them.
It did. Yeah.
And their son wrote this thing.
Exactly, right?
That's like a big deal.
There was always this like unspoken, for me, guilt, for them, unspoken, like, what's he really doing out there, right? What, like, is he just putting his life on sabbatical because he doesn't want to grow up and he doesn't want to come home and go to work in the real world, right? There was certainly that, right? And when I was stripping and not doing anything productive, they were 100% correct in that assessment. But it was important.
I was proud that I did not bring up the stripping first.
Well, I kind of have to bring it up given the film.
But were they? So you were honest with them about all that?
No, I wasn't actually.
Okay,
my mom never knew. My mom never found out.
I'm giving you a golf clap for that discretion because I think that's the right move.
Yeah. Especially my mom was like super, Catholic Italian lady who she would have passed out if she found out about that. But. Yeah, it was like it was just important for me to like let them know that I was doing the right thing in my life and that I was taking it very seriously and that it was like a passion and a drive far greater than I had for that other thing that for them represented success, and it was just important for me to like have them know that I wasn't goofing off and I wasn't like, just sitting out of reality with this dream or whatever.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a tricky balancing act.
Yeah, well, because they don't see the nuts and they don't see me in my class with Peter Haskell. They don't see me doing theater in L.A. They didn't get to see any of the steak, right, being built up and all the hard work and all that. What they would see is the two-line co-star on a dumb TV show, and
as regular human beings, they don't realize that's quite the accomplishment.
They don't realize even, right? Yeah.
The average parents in America will just be like, he did 2 lines on a TV show. There's like 50 to 100 people fighting for that.
So difficult
Thousands
to just
fighting
get that.
for that.
Right.
And but if you're not in the LA grind, you don't realize, whoa, that like makes you.
Yeah.
I always had a joke. I'm like, hey, I'm one of the most unsuccessful people you ever meet. Because like my shit made it to here.
Right.
And like,
exactly. That's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah. And to most people, they're like, well, what does that mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But we're in this weird microcosm.
Yeah. So anyway, so that was, That was okay. So that's like me now getting into making my own stuff, and
right. And so that obviously, that first short. So then you were like, okay, I'm gonna you caught the bug. Like you were gonna just keep filmmaking. You were gonna keep producing your own work because it was rewarding. It was
It was like multifaceted reasons why. Right. One, and we spoke about this earlier. It's like one was. It's because it's what I want to do. It's what I have to say, right? And I'm going to find a way to say it because it's like the alternative is you don't do it, right? And then you don't say anything, right? And then 2, I started to realize that like, this is going to sound terrible, but nobody likes an actor, right? Nobody likes an actor running around trying to get a job. They don't. Like, even if you're great and even if you're wowing people, it's just like, eh. But people love being entertained. They love to laugh, and they love to have something come across their whatever and be like, oh, that was good, right? And just being an actor was getting real difficult to do that, right? And it's like, you will do theater, right? Yeah, do theater and you get 7 people to come see your show. And maybe I was having that effect on those 7 people, but I was realizing like, oh, I can like make stuff. And this was right around the time that social media was getting more popular. And then it's like, I make this thing and then I put it on Facebook, right, at the time. And then it's like, oh, now I've got like all these people that day that were like, that was really good, right? And so that was like the other reason why I was like encouraged to keep making stuff, because I was like, oh, this is just gonna change the way people view me as an actor. I'm no longer just, hey, please hire me. I'm like, oh no, I'm making stuff, I'm doing the thing, right? I'm not just running around asking someone to pick me.
Yeah. But also you're a creative person and you get ideas.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Right. That was
and what's a better feeling than having an idea and actually doing something with it?
Yeah. No, it's amazing, right? It's like it's what we were saying, where it's like you have to do it, right? Like you have this idea and then it's like, you start writing it and then it's like, well, okay, like I can either let this sit on my computer or I can find some money and get some people together and do the shitty producing stuff that I don't like, and you make it happen, right? And it's like, well, yeah, I'm gonna do that.
And then you have the festival experience, and that you did the right thing.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
When Lord knows how many people have tons of stuff typed out on a laptop somewhere, and they don't show it to anyone, and they don't do anything with it, and they just move on and they're like, yeah, I could do that. But they don't actually. Yeah. They don't test it.
And trust me, I've got plenty of that stuff too. Yeah. I mean, this goddamn short was like one of those for a while. It was like written and just sitting there, and I don't know what it was. I don't know. I don't know why, but it was like I was just kind of like sitting on it, and then I pulled it back up like a year or 2 later, and I was like, oh, it's there. It's ready. I don't really, I was like kind of waiting for like, oh, it needs a little something.
Right. You mean the short version of the feature?
Yeah. Like I had written this 2 years before I shot it, I think. And then I brought it back up and just put like little, I think when I first wrote it, it was just 3 vignettes. And then I added the little things that are between the 3 vignettes in the office. And that, that just gave it a little bit more of a through line. And that's kind of those were the things I wrote when I pulled it out 2 years later. And it's strange. And I'll probably do that again. Like there's probably something I've already written that I will revisit, a year from now and be like, oh, like, why don't I just make this,
Yeah, for sure. I was going to ask though, so in between the first one and Mondays at the Office is well, it's actually not the last one because I've seen the they them one, but you said there was a bunch of shorts in there.
Yeah, so I kind of like I made a web series that was started by me and one of my writing partners, not Mike, but another guy, wrote these like little 3-minute sketches that were like connected by a theme, and then we pitched them to a online place that doesn't exist anymore, and they gave us money to like make more, and then we stretched that money. They ordered like 3 more, but we made like 7 more with that money, and we had a 10-episode web series that we made. And then that led us to getting hired to do some other web series from some other company. So we were, and then I was like, cranking out like a lot of these little, essentially like YouTube YouTube bait. They weren't for festivals. They were just these little like YouTube,
almost like micro shorts or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like smaller pieces.
No budget. I was like, I got $100 to spend on this thing, right? And
so like pre-social media.
Yeah, well, but I mean, it was
like social media existed, but there wasn't video with it.
Wasn't crazy. Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like,
it was more like
before
picture.
Facebook had video.
Yeah,
it really was just like.
You'd almost have to like share
pictures.
the link, the YouTube link to Facebook, and then people would go there.
Yeah.
And then I would make like a festival film that I would put a little bit of money into every so often. And like in 2018, I made one called Internet Gangsters. That was, it was like Cops and Robbers, and then Internet Gangsters was like the next one that I made the rounds with festivals. And that one probably did even better at festivals. It was shorter. It was just like a 6-minute, really tight. And the cool story with that is our cinematographer, Alicia Robbins, I didn't know her, but my director had gone to like undergrad with her. He got her to show up for free, and she submitted that to this, I'm going to butcher it, but the Cinematographers Guild has a competition each year, and she won. She won that, and she is currently now the DP on Bridgerton. Her career, and she will say it, and she says it all the time, it took off because of she showed up to do Internet Gangsters. This little short that her friend she went to undergrad with asked her to do. And what's funny is like her husband, David Smith, is one of the producers on Mondays at the Office. Like I got all the equipment and the office because David was like, we owe you for what you did for Alicia. I was like, you don't owe me anything. But that was like, that relationship got solidified from Internet Gangsters. And then, 5 years later, they were there. They're like, whatever you need, just let me know.
Good people.
Amazing. Yeah.
Some people never acknowledge.
Yeah, no. I mean, she goes out of her way to say that, and I'm like, and her, it was baby steps. Like she won that award, and then someone at Shondaland, somehow she got like her first opportunity there, and then she was like, there's like a 7th day DP. I forget like the terms, but there's like, you have the main DP, and then she was getting like when the main DP is off, she was DPing stuff. And then next thing I know, she was on Grey's Anatomy as a DP. And then like now, she's like blown up. Yeah. It's amazing.
It's so cool.
From a short film, right? It's like,
and it's proof that people shouldn't snooze on shorts, because if you do great work, you can do something with it.
And that was the thing. And like, she showed up like so ready and that I wasn't expecting it, like I wrote that thing and it was like, kind of felt like a sketch, but then I got my friend Sam Friedlander to direct it. And he was, he'd already made some features. So he's like, I'm not going to do this short just to do it. He's like, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it. And then Alicia kind of came in with that same energy. And then this like little idea I had ended up looking really good for the budget that I had. And it's like, she could have mailed it in, right? But she didn't. Like she took the opportunity to do it as good as she could do it, and it paid off.
More people need to know stories like that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people like snooze on a short.
Yeah, with that, no, and it's
like a lot of crew.
Yeah. And actors do too. It's like it's not even the point, right? It's not about because it could turn out to something. It's just that like you're making something, you should put your heart and soul into it, or don't do it.
Yeah,
right?
If you're gonna bother being there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Be your best.
Yeah. I have to relearn that lesson a lot of times, like there's times where I get lazy with that and it's just, it's just this. And it's like, nope, focus. And your day is better when you do that, right? If you're sitting there bitter about, I wanted to be doing this, but instead I'm doing this, you're going to be miserable all fucking day. It's like make your day will be the best if you try to bring your A game, it goes by quicker.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. And it also does, I don't know why I'm adding this, but also, you gave her the opportunity to be the DP. Like, right, sometimes people get when they do a short, they get a promotion. Like they become the department head.
Right.
Whereas in TV, she might have been, pulling focus.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what she was doing at that time. Yeah,
exactly. So by taking that gig and proving herself.
And she had that plan where she's like, I'm gonna use this to submit for that award show, and I think it was like the 2018 or 2019.
American Cinematographer Society or something.
Yeah, and then it's like the C
or American Society of Cinematographers.
Yeah.
It's ASC.
And there's if it's on it's on the IMDb page. It says which Cinematographers Guild Awards. But I'm saying it wrong. But anyway, it's on the IMDb for it, like the exact award that she won. And it was like there was like 10 films selected, and then they picked the winner from that. And apparently, I wasn't there, but I think like a lot of the films were just all these like big, beautiful films, but like mine was like a funny comedy with gangsters, and it's people liked it. It's like after watching like a 20-minute film of just like, a DP masturbating to himself with some beautiful shot, our thing comes on and it's like, oh yeah, I like that. And it like subconsciously makes people like the film better.
I have heard that. I forget when, but I heard a super famous cinematographer, like I'm talking like 20, 30 years ago, talk about how when the Oscars come along, they had a joke that they referred to it as rent a landscape, which is like, so if you get hired to shoot Dance with the Wolves, great, you get the Great Plains, you get an Oscar because you got that landscape.
Right.
Like it's always because the people who vote for Oscars don't actually understand cinematography.
You're right.
They just go with whatever the natural wonders, like out of Africa.
Right,
great.
Exactly.
Well, guess what? The person that made, exactly. I don't know. The guy who shot Trading Places probably had a much more challenging job shooting in New York, shooting in all this, making all that look cinematic.
Right.
Versus it's pretty hard to fail when you've got 10,000 buffalo charging across the plains. You know what I mean? But so I love that the Cinematographer Society or the Guild
recognize that.
Her work, she didn't get given the vista.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that is so funny. That's very cool.
Yeah. And then so that's like I've been.
Like a short or two a year.
That's the goal.
Like you got like a year. You've been.
It's weird because there's like so many things that I like. I don't. Do I call it a short or is it a YouTube video? Right. But like films that have been submitted to festivals, I've probably had like 5 or 6, I would say, and then dozens of other. Short form content.
The word none of us can dodge.
It's and like so and all ranges within that. Some of them are great little films. They just they were shot with no budget. Versus festival, I feel like okay, that has to have somewhat of a budget.
For sure, and obviously the bigger pieces. You don't want to just throw online because there is the festival world where you can meet more people and
they're meant to be seen on a big screen. You start doing all these things like sound mixes and color correction where it's like nobody's going to appreciate that on YouTube, but on a big screen they will.
Oh yeah, man, that screen. Thank God we still have theaters.
Yeah. No, it's unfortunate because it's like. I don't want to sound like an old guy, but like everything gets dumbed down so much so that if that's all you think that's the thing and you don't appreciate the real thing anymore, right? And I don't know that, if you're watching TikTok and Instagram Reels and that's all you're watching for entertainment, you almost... I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the minds of people that's all they do. Or will they appreciate a proper sound mix? Will they appreciate a proper color correction? The answer is yes, but it's just getting harder and harder, I think, to undo, what that's doing to our taste, or so to speak.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I do have hope.
If all you do is eat McDonald's and drink Pepsi, do you know, at some point you like that more than like a good, I'm going to go back to steak and wine, right? Like, it's like, no, Pepsi and McDonald's is where it's at, right? I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, cinema on a 50 to 75 foot screen is such a powerful experience.
Yeah.
And, you know, like part of me wants to say, like, you know, look, we still have art galleries.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even though you really would, you know, I imagine 5-10 years ago, like if you owned an art gallery and you saw what was coming down the road with Instagram, you'd be like, oh shit, like, will there be art galleries in 5-10 years? And the answer is, yeah, we still have them.
Yeah. They'll
like,
always.
Hopefully people respect.
Yeah.
That you need this venue.
I just wish that it was like, I feel like there was a period where the mainstream and the art were closer together, right? I felt like that but the 70s for me, like for filmmaking. And then the 90s, I felt like there was a resurgence with all the great like indie films that were coming out that were doing well at the box office, like the Good Will Huntings and the Pulp Fiction and all those films that were the best films of the year and also what all the young people were talking about, right? And we can get that back. That can totally come back, but I do feel like we're in this weird period of the last however many years where the gap between what's popular and talked about has gotten away from.
It has, yeah. And well, I do, because it's where I go, I criticize the studios. I kind of blame the studios because what they come out with is not that compelling.
No, I know.
It doesn't compel, like with the exception of, you know, really amazing visual effects in some Marvel films, which, you know, for 5 minutes or whatever, they actually did something, in my opinion, they did something really impressive with a long form story. And now that's over.
Right.
And now we're left with like
now what? Yeah.
Empty theaters. And I mean, it helped our festivals because a super professional state of the art venue was like, you'll bring in more people to buy food and drink here than the latest Hollywood release, because the latest Hollywood release comes out and people are like, I guess, I don't know. Right. Do I need to go see that?
Right.
You know, and it's heartbreaking, but
I know. Yeah.
But if Hollywood made stuff that compelled us, and then what they did with the Oscars just doesn't work.
In what sense?
Well, like expanding the best,
going to 10,
trying to
get, yeah.
Because going to 10 was supposed to allow them to put in more popular films,
right.
But they're just putting in,
It's
just like what, like, you know, I love film, and there's, you know, I think I'm going to go see Jordan Peele's new one this year, but that might be the only Hollywood movie I go see this year.
Right. Yeah, I know.
Like they're not making stuff that I'm dying to see, and that, you know, I want to take my kid to see.
Yeah.
So, you know, although I was going to admit that, like, I have seen that teenager watching Netflix on her phone.
Oh God.
Sitting on the couch with the 52-inch TV in front of her.
Yeah.
On cue, she just walked in behind you. But anyway, sorry. So I just distracted myself. So how many shorts total? Oh, you said about 5.
Yeah, I would say about like 5 or 6 festival shorts, and then dozens of other, you know, things that were more like a sketch that got filmed that was just released to YouTube.
And is that the stuff your wife is like, okay, now you got to become your own impresario and you got to like combine everything together and promote it?
She's a producer, my wife. She's like, and she's like great at putting events together and doing things like that. So she's kind of always telling me, you got to do this, you got to do that. And I always default to like, I don't care about that. But then I eventually I listen to what she's saying because she's often right, you know.
Yeah, it's just a balance, right? You want to focus on the art, but the art suffers if well, art needs to be seen.
Yeah, and it's not, they're not diametrically opposed. You have 24 hours in a day, right? You're not just sitting around making art. You're like, you can kind of get better with promoting and doing all that.
Yeah, who knew that's like, but that is huge. It's huge. It's but it's what the film industry's always, it's like from day one, that's what that's what they've been doing, right? There's always a marketing machine behind all this stuff. So there is, and all our heroes who seem so independent, but they were, the great David Lynch was savvy as heck.
Yeah, of course.
At getting his quirky stuff out there, and being a compelling, interesting person, like you have to be engaging, and you got to have something.
Yeah, and finding clever ways, because it's changed, right? And for someone who's making their own short films, all the changes have been super positive, right? You can cut a teaser from your short and put it on your Instagram. Like, there's so many, these are all things that were only done at the studio level, back in the days. Like, we've got this film, we got to make a trailer, right? And it's like, now you're not your own studio, but like with things like this, you sort of are, and you can find clever ways to get people to be intrigued by it and be more likely to watch it, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a double-edged sword, but creators can actually get their work directly to an audience now.
Yeah.
Which was impossible.
Sure. Yeah.
Pre-internet.
Yeah.
Lord knows, people used to have to four-wall a theater, and then crazy times.
And I guess where it can get goofy is I'm going to shoot it vertical. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to shoot it vertical because it'll play better on TikTok, right? And then, but it's like, it just can't look like a film, that's where it gets complicated, right? And you gotta stay true to what you want to do, but then also play the game, right? But I think if all you're doing is playing the game, it just doesn't appeal to me,
Yeah, I know, and I'll never. Hopefully, I don't live long enough to see a vertical film at the theater, because
right. Think of that.
We've had them submitted now.
Oh, really?
Actually, this Sherman Oaks Film Festival this December, we had a feature submission that was vertical, and I'm like, no, I tried to be so open-minded,
right?
I mean,
how would that even look on a screen?
Terrible.
It's going to be all black on each side.
It's going to be 60% black.
Yeah,
with a thing just a
little sliver.
But it's it's funny because I kind of do love my phone, but the fact that this form factor, they made it match HDTV,
right? But
then the vertical thing just kills it.
Yeah.
Because human beings grew up hunter-gatherers. We look horizontally with our eyes. Like that's how we didn't get eaten by saber-toothed tigers. We need peripheral vision.
Yeah. It just looks it looks better.
It's the vertical thing is I will not accept it.
Right. So that's like the compromise, right? It's like you make the thing you want to make, how you want to make it, and then play the game with that, right? Because it's the game is you're missing out on on something if you're not doing it, right?
No, and I'm sure even at the studio level they're like, make sure you give us like a teaser that'll look good vertical.
Sure, yeah. Which is fine, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't bother me, right?
The teaser thing, yeah.
It's the teaser. That's
really,
the advertising.
I think about it I see that stuff all the time, and I'm like, wow, how much editing are they doing to make sure actors are always in the right place on this vertical screen? Because I know it's like a 16:9.
Yeah.
Whatever landscape. I don't know. That's a technical thing.
Yeah.
It breaks my heart that at least the square didn't win. When Instagram was a square, I'm like, well, square I can live with.
Right,
you can put black bars along the top and bottom, and then you have the 16. I know it's. Oh.
Yeah, and like that's when you share a short film to your Instagram, it looks weird because it's not taking up the most space. And some of them, sometimes if you turn it horizontal, the whole thing will go and take up, but then other times it doesn't, and it's still a lot of black on there. And that just is what it is, It's like
and TikTok is just completely incompatible with
yeah,
cinema.
yeah, exactly, yeah,
completely. Like you just can't. TikTok just
it's meant for something else.
It is.
But Instagram, I've had some of the shorts that I've made. I've been able to like at least get a lot of the people who follow me to watch it. Where it was like in their algorithm, and I was like, that's what I want. I want my people to see my stuff, right? And with this short, it's going to be interesting because it's long, and I don't know anyone nobody's going to watch it from an Instagram post if I just post the whole, because you can do up to 15 minutes, I think, on Instagram.
Yeah, they really.
So I could upload this, but probably what I'll do is I'll upload the trailer and then link in bio to the film.
Right, some trailer and then maybe some clips.
A couple people will.
Yeah,
exactly.
Clips.
little clips throughout.
You got your beefcake factor.
Exactly, right.
Which
give a 20 or 30 second clip of that.
Tickets, yeah.
And then in the bio, I've got my Vimeo link or YouTube link to the film. And see if
it all checks out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're you're plowing forward. You're not resting on any laurels, I know.
Yeah. I mean, I made this other film, Killing Them, with my friend Jeremy Luke, directed. And me and Jeremy have been friends for 20 years. We've collaborated on dozens of things over the years. And it was kind of like I was frustrated with the festival process with Mondays at the Office, as I've told you before. And it kind of exhausted me and bummed me out. And then we were making this thing, and I was like, I'm not spending a penny on it. If you want to put money into it, you can. And he put we got a good location, and then I was like, let's just release it. I was like, because he has, he's very good with like promoting stuff, and his people watch everything we do together. So I was like, and he was like, no, I want to do festivals with it. And I was like, all right, but you're paying the submission fees because I'm not.
Right, because Mondays at the Office
I was like,
we discussed that at the theater afterwards. Yeah,
that was like, I was all about, this is a festival film, and I submitted it, and it just did not get a good response. And then this other one was, something I wrote not thinking like that, but Jeremy was really happy with how it came out, and he's like, let's do festivals with it before we release it.
Amusingly, I had a little. I'll read them to you when we're not recording.
Yeah,
because of course my ancient laptop crapped out earlier on us. I think from the website in the background, but I was actually going to read you what some of our jurors said about Mondays at the Office.
Oh yeah, I'd love to hear that.
Just because. Particularly, I think I told you at the theater, like, a lot of our female... we talked about the fact that, like, a lot of festivals probably stayed away from Mondays at the Office for politically correct reasons, I guess, or the stripper angle and this and that. And I just wanted to share with you what our female jurors had to say, and it was all super positive.
Yeah, it's crazy to me to think that film could be construed as something not politically correct.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Whatever politically correct even means.
Yeah, I guess, and not even politically correct, but like I am aware from talking to filmmakers that they experience weird shit at other festivals now where like, I don't know. Like if it's mostly male leads, then they're not getting somewhere.
Right. And I don't want I don't want to sound like that guy, so it's like I just don't even it's like to me it's like I mean I don't even have a problem with making a film about awful people, and you know what I'm saying? I don't even have a problem with the filmmaker being an awful person, you know what I mean? Like there it's really it's up to, like a film. One of my favorite films is Goodfellas, right? It's misogyny. It's all the bad qualities of men, that film. It's an amazing, you know what I mean? Like would that film be judged differently if it came out now? I don't think so. I don't.
I don't think so, but I think
if it would,
I think some festivals might.
Yeah, which is that's crazy to me, right? That's where we're losing track of what we're, like how we judge films, right? It's like you shouldn't be judging a film because your morals don't align with the characters in the film, right? Because then you're sounding like my mother who doesn't like cursing in films. You know what I'm saying? Or you're sounding like a super religious right person who doesn't want, the devil in the film. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like The Exorcist or Rosemary's Baby cannot be seen at this festival because it talks about the devil. You know what I mean? You're starting to sound like that, and that's the antithesis of art and...
Yeah, and
you know what I mean, like what it's supposed. And again, I don't.
Yeah, and the emphasis is art, and
yeah,
and it's just is it a good film or
not?
Yeah,
and but that being said, I don't think my film is showing, men in a
vulnerable position.
It's not they're not jerks. These guys, like I feel like they're all lovable. So even if but yeah, it's an interesting thing you bring up.
Yeah, and it's funny. I won't risk it. But I'll read it to you when we're not recording because you deserve to hear it.
Yeah. I would love to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well. Are we? I think we're good.
Yeah.
I think. So you have mentioned using Facebook and Instagram and stuff. You want to? Is there a website too, or mostly just social?
I'm just at Eddie Alfano. Yeah.
You don't need
a
website anymore.
I've never.
In fact, everyone's website is out of date.
Yeah, right. Because they don't.
Social media is current.
Yeah. I'm at Eddie Alfano on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Facebook is I think there's a period, but there's not that many Eddie Alfanos. And then my YouTube, it's What a Nightmare Productions is the production name I use. So all the shorts I've ever made are all at What a Nightmare Productions on YouTube.
Excellent. Well, we'll make that clickable links in the show notes.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And just fire over an email with so that Karina doesn't have to look them up.
Right.
Excellent. All right. Well, here I'll wrap us up so that we can get to the next podcast, which is where you'll answer those 4 questions. But thanks, Eddie.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. It was
total pleasure.
Great chatting.
All right, I'm gonna ramble off. Thank you, everyone, for listening to this podcast. If you want to learn more about it, go to discoverindiefilm.com. On social media, it's always at DIFWins. And by the way, discoverindiefilm.org is the nonprofit that runs the film festivals that Eddie and I have mentioned during this interview. So check that out. The nonprofit is, I'm proud of it. This nonprofit runs 2 festivals, and both are in the top 100 best reviewed list on Film Freeway out of 14,000 in the world. So we're doing something right. And those, I mentioned Film Invasion Los Angeles. That's where Mondays at the Office played last June for our 10th anniversary. You can learn more about that festival at filminvasionla.com, and it's at Film Invasion LA on social media. Its sister festival that we hold every December is about to have its 10th edition in a couple months, and yeah, that's kind of scary for me. I got a lot of work to do. But you can learn more about the Sherman Oaks Film Festival if you go to ShermanOaksFF.com, and it's at ShermanOaksFF on social media. And I call those 2 sister festivals. They're getting a cousin in South America. In January 2026, Film Invasion Lima, Peru is launching. Thanks to a wonderful team down there. And I'm making them do the work because I don't have any time. But I'm looking forward to Film Invasion Lima. It's very cool. And thank you again, Eddie.
Thank you.
And hey, everybody, listen to the podcast after this one because it's going to be Eddie answering some fun questions about favorite films and whatnot. All right. I believe we're good. Thank you, everyone, for listening.